everyone, welcome back to the Swiftly Sung Stories podcast. I'm your host Jen, your Swifty English teacher, and today we're tackling track 9 in my track-by-track analysis of the life of Showgirl, and we are diving straight into Wood. This is one of the funniest and cheekiest tracks Taylor has ever written, but is it just straight up sexual satire? Or is she erecting something more complex in these lyrics? We're going to get into that and more, line by line. In my last few episodes, I analyzed Taylor's prologue poem and the first 8 tracks of this album, so go check those out. It lays a lot of groundwork for understanding all of the themes and motifs that Taylor is exploring in this album. Also, all of this content is available on my website if you want the text version with the annotated lyrics. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can also find me wherever you get your podcasts and vice versa. Okay, first let's lay a little foundation of the themes within the song, and then we will roll into our dissection of Wood, line by line. Welcome to Swiftly Sung Stories, where we unpack the Taylor Swift universe one era, album, and lyric at a time. Think of it like English class, but it's all Taylor Swift and none of the boring stuff. I'm Jen, your Swifty English teacher, and class is in session, so come on in and meet me in the margins. So the whole shtick of this song is using superstitions and double entendres, and sometimes superstitions as double entendres. So a double entendre is just when something can have 2 different meanings, and one of the meanings is risque. So the song is funny and it's lighthearted, but it's also still well within the central themes of the album, which is what could have been versus what is now. She's been thinking a lot about fate on this album and in past albums. And many of the tracks on Showgirl, she's pondering how she got to where she is today. What wasn't fated versus what was fated, and what it means to choose one path and not take the other. In Wood, she's taking a more lighthearted approach to this whole idea of fate and destiny. She looks at her past superstitions, comparing them to her present circumstances, and through humor and hyperbole, she's contrasting her past self and her present self. So while the song might seem a bit out of pocket upon first listen, it's still fairly consistent with all of the themes she's presented in Showgirl so far. Before I go into detail, a quick PSA, I only discuss Taylor's personal life in my lyrical analysis when it's essential to understanding the song, or when it just really helps us put the lyrics into context. I'm not here to discover what Taylor did. I'm not here to discover what Travis did. I'm just here to look at the art and the writing and see what that does. I'm also dissecting Taylor's lyrics through my lens and my opinion, and that doesn't have to be your lens and your opinion. All art is subjective, and it means different things to different people. So in this analysis, I'm not saying that everything I say is true or fact. I'm just here to point out different interpretations, and you can draw your own conclusions. So take what resonates, leave the rest, and let me know what you think in the comments. So the first verse of Wood begins, "Daisy's bare naked, I was distraught." At first we're thinking, who is Daisy? Is this a character? Kind of and kind of not. So she's picking the petals off of the daisy, playing the he loves me not game. But all the petals have been plucked off, and the daisy is now naked with no petals. She's landed on he loves me not, and she's distraught because of this. This is both a way of setting up the sexual themes with using bare naked to describe the daisy, and a real look back at where she was in the past. And in the past, she has used this same metaphor before. In You're on Your Own, Kid, she says, "I picked the petals, he loves me not." Those are almost exactly the same line. And in Wood, she could either be referring to You're on Your Own, Kid, or where she was during the whole Midnight's era, or she could be referring to how she's done this over and over, hoping for a different result, picking the petals, which really means looking for love to be reciprocated, but it never is. And that's the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over and hoping for a different result, which here she describes not as insane, but as distraught. She repeats, "He loves me not, he loves me not." This is intentional. It mirrors Wish List, where she says, "I thought I had it right once, twice, but I did not." So twice before, she thought she'd be loved, and twice she was wrong. She goes on with another superstition. Penny's unlucky, I took him back. Now she's playing the old find a penny, pick it up, and all day long you'll have good luck game. Some people believe that finding the penny heads up is good luck and tails is bad luck. She seems to have found this penny in the unlucky position, and she takes back an old lover amidst this spate of bad omens. And then her bad luck continues. And then stepped on a crack, and the black cat laughed. Stepping on a crack is another superstition considered a bad omen. Step on a crack, break your mother's back, that old rhyme. And the black cat crossing her path is also considered bad luck in some cultures, but black cats are also considered good fortune in other cultures. So whatever this cat is, good or bad, it laughs at her misfortune. She can't catch a break, no matter how many cracks and cats she avoids. By the way, she's written this first verse by using Daisy and Penny both as nouns and as names, which is really interesting. And a lot of the themes in this album are about past and present self, this duality within her. It's the showgirl versus the girl. And it's almost as if she is naming these past versions of herself. The version that took him back, or was distraught, or stepped on a crack. That's Penny, and that's Daisy, as in old versions of Taylor. But in any case, she's about to tell us why she's thrown out all of these superstitions and rituals in the first pre-chorus. And baby, I'll admit I've been a little superstitious. Not only has she laid out all of her superstitions in the previous verse, but we know that Taylor herself is heavy into numerology and astrology and has the lucky number 13, which is normally a number that the wider world perceives as unlucky. So superstition is a big part of her career. So here she's saying, I've been a little superstitious. It's hyperbole. She's been a lot superstitious. So she goes on, fingers crossed until you put your hand on mine. She was crossing her fingers, hoping that her luck would turn around in the love department. It all changed when he metaphorically placed his hand on hers. And this imagery is really potent. We can imagine her crossing her fingers, and then this new love comes and places his hand on hers with this kind of Midas touch. It's calming, and it's broken the spate of bad luck. She can uncross her fingers now. Seems that you and me, we make our own luck, she goes on. They don't need these superstitious rituals anymore because their combined power is stronger than luck, or whatever force brought them together, like she talks about in The Fate of Ophelia, is stronger than luck. It's cosmic or karmic. A bad sign is all good, she continues. I ain't gonna knock on wood. So now that she's in the comfort of this new secure place, bad signs don't scare her anymore. Superstitions don't scare her anymore, and she's given them up. She doesn't have to knock on wood anymore to bring herself luck. But the last line also sets up the central metaphor / double entendre of the song, which she will expand upon later. The first chorus begins, all that bitching and wishing on a falling star never did me any good. So all of these previous superstitious rituals never worked, and she can see that now. All that bitching is probably referring to the previous longings of Midnights and TTPD. It was her attempt at trying to turn the tides, but it was never going to work. And to wish upon a star is an old superstition, but the phrase was really popularized by Disney's 1940 animated feature, Pinocchio. And in the New Heights podcast, which Taylor announced the life of Showgirl on, a Pinocchio figurine sat behind them on the shelf. That was likely an Easter egg for this song, both in the wood construction and in the falling star lyric. The full lyrics of that song are, when you wish upon a star, makes no difference who you are. Anything your heart desires will come to you. If your heart is in your dream, no request is too extreme. When you wish upon a star, as dreamers do, fate is kind. She brings those to love the sweet fulfillment of their secret longing. Like a bolt out of the blue, fate steps in and sees you through. When you wish upon a star, your dreams come true. This old song actually sums up all of the themes of this album. A sudden change of fate, longings fulfilled, the prophecy changed. And all these previous wishes never did me any good, she says, because fate was always in charge. and fate decided when it was time to turn the tables. I ain't gotta knock on wood, she repeats. She no longer has to tempt fate or ward off bad luck because what she has and has always wanted is right in front of her. She goes on, it's you and me forever dancing in the dark. This phrase has a double meaning because it both refers to bedroom activities, which she's really going to get into in the next verse, and the iconic Bruce Springsteen song, Dancing in the Dark. That song, like much of the life of a showgirl, was Springsteen's confession that fame isn't always fulfilling. In the lyrics, he searches for inspiration in love when his professional life hits a roadblock, and he's hoping that even scraps of romance will help him reach contentment. So for Springsteen, dancing in the dark means a bit of excitement, even if it doesn't lead anywhere, even if the path doesn't light up before him. He can have this temporary bit of happiness. Taylor says they're forever dancing in the dark, which could just flat out mean that, you'll always be my bed partner. Or it could mean, I don't know where we're going, but we're going there together. She concludes the first chorus with, all over me, it's understood, I ain't gonna knock on wood. So as they dance in the dark, her lover is all over me. But you can also read this as it's all over for me, as in, I don't need to go searching anymore because I've found everything I want and it's right here. If there were only twinges of innuendo in the lyrics up until this point, she goes full throttle in the post-chorus, and that begins, forgive me, it sounds cocky. He Ah-Matized me and opened my eyes. So it sounds cocky is a double entendre. On one hand means, sorry, I don't mean to be boastful or bragging about this new love that I found. But on the other hand, cocky refers to his manhood. This is the first real hint we get, if you haven't read ahead by now, that wood is also a double entendre. He Ah-Matized me alludes to hypnotism, which ties into the mystical, superstitious themes of this song. But what she means, but doesn't say out loud, is he dickmatized me, or he showed me pleasure in the sheets that I didn't know was possible. Open my eyes describes this newfound world of sexual gratification, but also describes how this lover has changed her entire outlook on fate and superstition. She goes on, redwood tree, it ain't hard to see. So here the innuendo isn't subtle at all. She's comparing his manhood to a redwood tree. Redwoods are, of course, one of the largest living organisms on the planet, known for their new heights, as well as their girth. I hate that word, but I had to say it. It ain't hard to see is a cheeky nod to how large and in charge he is. But it also means, obviously this person is right for me. It's not hard to see that we are perfect together. She closes the post-chorus with, his love was the key that opened my thighs. So here she's talking about both sexual pleasure and his romantic love for her. And they kind of go hand in hand throughout this whole song. She's finally found a best friend who I think is hot. So the key that opened my thighs means he's not only incredible in the sack, but he's also found the key to her heart. And if it's locked inside my memory and only you possess the key, beyond the door is pleasure and happiness, beyond both of their wildest dreams. There's a very short second verse, which is kind of an odd structure for Taylor, but it works here to give us a little bit more backstory. And that very short second verse is, girls, I don't need to catch the bouquet to know a hard rock is on the way. So on the surface, this means that she doesn't need the wedding superstition of the bridesmaid catching the bouquet to know that she'll be the next one to get married. She knows she'll get that ring. And funny enough, or fated enough, this line actually predicts what happened to her in her personal life. She wrote the song before Travis proposed, I'm assuming, with a very large rock. But it's also another double entendre. An engagement ring is on the way, but so is a very hard piece of manhood. The second pre-chorus repeats, and baby, I'll admit I've been a little superstitious. And then, the curse on me was broken by your magic wand. The magic wand is, of course, another innuendo. It's a redwood tree by any other name, but the curse is something that she sung about before, seriously, in the prophecy, where she thought she caught lightning in a bottle, but then it just keeps disappearing. This curse has been broken by this magician, And she also referred to this new lover as kind of magician in the Fate of Ophelia, where you were just honing your powers. So with a wave of his quote-unquote magic wand, the spell is broken, and our princess is saved. Tale as old as time. Seems that you and me, we make our own luck, she repeats, but then she changes the line that follows. New heights of manhood. I ain't got to knock on wood. New Heights is, of course, Travis and Jason Kelsey's podcast, on which Taylor appeared and announced this album. But this is also a double entendre, and it's another name for his manhood. But there's also something sincere about this lyric. As a reply to the smallest man who ever lived, he's the tallest man who ever lived. The smallest man who ever lived didn't measure up to any measure of a man. But this new man is new heights of what a man can and should be. And together they make their own luck. And it's new heights of what she thought was even possible. The chorus and the post-chorus repeat, and by the end we can see that for our showgirl, the sky is a limit when it comes to happiness and contentment. There are no more cracks to step on, or pennies to toss, or daisies to pluck. She no longer has to knock on hollow wood of any other man, or any other Pinnochio who wants to be a real boy, because what she has standing right in front of her is solid and secure and immovable, like a redwood tree. And as full of innuendo and humor as this song is, it's also sweet. She wished upon a star, and then all the stars aligned. But here, she can see that none of it was accidental. It was fated, and all of the heartbreaks and feeling cursed, that's all over, because he changed the prophecy. That's it for my analysis of Wood, and please like and subscribe so you don't miss my next episode where we are diving into Cancelled. That song is a bit more surprising than you might think. All of this content is available on my website, swiftlysungstories.com. Thank you so much for being here and for spending your valuable time with me. I appreciate it more than you will ever know. That is all for now, and we will see you in the next track. That's it for this chapter of Swiftly Sung Stories. If you enjoyed this deep dive, please don't forget to follow, subscribe, or leave a review. It helps other Swifties find their way here. I'm Jen, and I had a marvelous time reading everything with you. See you next time.